in the long run affect this or find out this commercial loss? Energy committee. What would you also tell the Ghanaian, towards the attitude that they have towards
my brother, recently they say some people have embezzled funds. What did you see? Rambo-style arrest. Why don't we use those measures also on those? Because $90 million or $80 million in a month, is it a small money? So we should have, as a government, should have a proper special task force operation in place, in charge of those things. I'm telling you, we should. I'm not saying the government is the cause of that. No, I'm saying this is what is in existence. So we should rather mobilize our strength towards attacking it. Because if not, all the time we'll be increasing tariffs. So we need to stop it. There should be a stop at some point. That is what we are calling for.
Okay. Just a second. Just to corroborate what our ranking had put out. When you have huge commercial losses like we have put across to you, what is the strategy by government, by ECG and Co to reduce this significantly so it doesn't become a burden to be pushed over to the Ghanaian consumer? And we know the effects of high electricity tariffs. We are indicating that it has gone up by almost 30%. This is 28%. That is extremely high in terms of a year when you have this significant increase. And so when you measure it against the commercial losses, and we were even reducing it by 5% or 10% over a period of time, then you realize that a time will come when these things will be a thing of the past. But to push all these losses away and then put it on the head of the consuming public who pays for, then that we think is very unfair. It is damaging industries, it is hurting the SMEs, and that is why we, as a minority caucus, think that the Ghanaian people would have to stand up and condemn government for these tariff increments. Thank you very much.
Okay, so thank you. Ranking member. My name is Arjun Ampons. I work for Adam TV. I want to find out, I know some of these things.
No, but the tree man.
Okay, so the question I want to put really is that, I know that some of these things, before it is done, there will be a number of consultations. And you are the committee. I know most of these policies and other arrangements will appear before you. Did they come to your committee? Did they appear to your committee? What was the discussion at the committee level before this action was taken? Did you oppose it during the committee at the committee level? Or what was the position at the committee level? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So we met PURC as a committee, and not just the committee. The minority leadership was part of that meeting, and including the majority leader. During that meeting, our leadership made it clear. We stated our position clearly that we were not in support of any increment at this time. Because you see, my colleagues have mentioned, they reiterated some of the reasons why we shouldn't increase tariffs at this time. One of the key reasons, if you remember, the time they were introducing the 1 cedi levy, one of the forceful arguments that they made was that our forex rate, the cedi depreciation, is part of the issues when it comes to calculation of tariffs. And because of the cedi depreciation, that's why we've incurred a lot of losses and so on. Apart from that, they don't have funds to buy fuel and all those things. So they are introducing 1 cedi levy to purchase fuel, and so that it will support the electricity sector, and then also use it to clear legacy debt. Today, we all know FS is down. So if AFX as a component of the tariff, major component is down, inflation, which is also a major component, is down, why are you increasing tariffs? Why? These are questions we believe that you, the media and Ghanaians, should ask them. Why are you increasing tariffs? That's why when we met them, our leadership, led by our minority leader, Honorable Osahina Alexander Afenomakin, reiterated the point that we in the minority do not at this time support this increment, because it's going to stifle businesses, it's going to hurt SMEs, young businesses, industry, and so on. How do you expect to run a 24-hour economy when your tariffs are high? When in your own 24-hour policy that you are talking about reducing tariffs for industry, and you are increasing tariffs. Where lies the principle? And that's the question we want to ask them.
Okay. Yes, last one, and then we are done. Then we can go to the tree.
My name is James. I want to know, you raised two key issues: the increments, and then the issue about losses which need to be flagged in the system. I believe two institutions are responsible for this: the PURC as well as the Electricity Company of Ghana. When you intend bringing them to offer some explanation to the committee or the House, would you do that before the implementation in January, or you give them the time to consider withdrawing if they do not after January, then you invite them to?
Thank you. We already met them, and they've stated clearly some of the causes. As you mentioned, one of your colleagues mentioned it. Those who are not paying, some are the ministries, other governmental institutions, you see. So if we all know them, about maybe 5–10%, we all know. That is why we are calling on the government to come in to support, so that these losses will be thing of the past. So if the other ones are theft and then other things, that one we can use the security service to also, that's why I'm calling for a special task force in charge of these commercial losses operations within a year or two, because the way the government was chasing oppositions, writing, arresting them, saying they have been implicated in corrupt practice or something, they should use the same zeal to go after these losses, those who are defaulted, or I'm not saying defaulted, those who are stealing power.
Just
So,
a quick one. There are people who suggest that the Ministry of Finance should consider, even if it's about doing having backing from Parliament, to withhold some of this amount from the allocations to some of these ministries, agencies, and departments to pay to the ECD. Is this something?
fine. Who can do that? It's government. So we are calling on government to help us arrest these commercial losses.
Thank you.
Okay. So thank you very much. We would let our brother Michael Danabe. So Michael will do the tree. Yeah. Right. So one from about.
Abusafo.
Member of Parliament for Asene Manso Akroso, Honorable George Kwame Abuaje, addressing the press on behalf of the minority who are calling for a reversal on the increment in utility tariffs by the PURC. I'm joined in the studio by my colleague Nana Tufo Watson. Nana Tufo.
Hi, how are?
Shortly, a while ago on newsfeed, we spoke to Fabak, president, who is also calling for a reversal of the increment. The minority is also calling for a reversal of the increment. You have 9% for ECG and then 15% for water. What do you make of all of this?
I mean, if you look at the time at which this increment is coming and the justification by the PURC, it is only fair and just that you would have institutions, including CSOs, come against the PURC and insist that indeed there is a reversal of same. The first to go against the PURC was the TUC, who have actually threatened a series of actions following a meeting they are yet to have. So we await the outcome of that particular meeting. But if you look at the justification for the increment as given by the PURC, and you had the ranking on the Energy Committee of Parliament, who is also MP for Asene Manso, so also touch on two of them. If you look at the yearly tariff reviews, inflation plays a significant part, and then the FX also plays a significant part. Now, the increases are coming at a point where we've seen a significant downward trend. In both cases, FX is going down. Inflation is in its single digit. So one wonders where the justification really is for them. But then you can look at the operational cost, especially for water, as a result of illegal mining. Now they are spending more to purify water for us to consume. Then you take the ECG, which of course has a similar problem with Ghana Water because of losses. You're looking at two ends of the losses: technical losses, commercial losses. And then for the technical losses, it can be really... there's a system where it can be traced, and that's the more reason why some persons are advocating for privatization of electricity, the distribution end of power supply in this country, because the generation is done, but then from the supply point to the consumption point is where the losses are, if you like, recorded. And these are in two folds: the technical bit and then the commercial bit. The commercial bit is where people are consuming power without paying, basically. And it's where illegal connections are ongoing. And then you have the technical bit where along the transmission lines, due to, if like the obsolete equipment or transmission equipment or machines being used, we are recording some of these losses. And so clearly, there's a major problem that needs to be dealt with, and not necessarily almost always, all the time, increasing utility tariffs. And we've had a number of agencies kick against this particular increase. It's the yearly increase set to take effect in January of 2026. We've had TUC, Fabak, who you spoke with earlier on newsfeed. Now the minority. I have heard the Consumer Protection Agency, CPA, also speak against it. So clearly there's going to be a number of such engagements, press conferences, press releases, press statements condemning this particular increase and calling for a reversal of same.
Do you think the PRC will be able to take an action on this demand by the minority for a reversal or a hold to this increment? Well,
you noticed that a question posed by one of the journalists that they just ended press briefing had to do with the level of engagement between the PURC and its stakeholders, and this particular time in question, the minority caucus, and whether or not they had engaged the PURC even at the committee level, the energy committee level. The answer was yes. And so what you glean from that is that sometimes the facts as presented to, the technical facts as presented to some of these committees who do actual technical work regarding tariff increases, they're different for what is put out there. So it makes the communication around some of these things quite a bit difficult. Maybe Mr. Obute of the PURC would have to come out and do some proper, if you like, sensitization regarding the price adjustments and how they come by it. But we know that there was a committee which had Nanaya Jantua of the presidency on. I think I heard her speak a couple of times prior to this major announcement. I think they went around trying to do some sensitization. But from where I stand and how I look at it, it will be very difficult for the PURC to make a reversal on this. We live in a country where prices always go up and never come down.
Never come down.
So,
well, thank you so much, Nana Tufo Watson is my colleague here at Channel 1 TV and City FM. We just brought you the press conference by the minority. They're asking the government to halt the intended increment of utility tariffs, which takes effect from January 2026. I'm Hawa Idrisi Mustafa. Keep watching Channel 1 TV.